So have you ever sat down wanting to get a bunch of work done only to find yourself scrolling on your phone 5 minutes later? Or have you ever started a day with a laundry list of tasks that you wanted to get completed, only to get bombarded by distractions, to the point now you can't even find your way back to your task list? If this sounds like you, then you're not the only one. See, most people don't struggle with focus because they lack motivation, because they're lazy, but they struggle with focus because their focus is fragile. It gets hijacked by distractions. It gets weakened by other people's priorities. But here's the thing. Focus isn't something that we have. Focus is something that we train. So if you don't train your focus, the world is going to train your focus for you and it's going to be distracted. So I want to teach you in this video how to sharpen your focus and become the disciplined person you're capable of becoming. Now, the key to mastering focus is not avoiding distractions. I know it sounds different, but it's not avoiding distractions, but it's about becoming the person who can stay locked in. It's about becoming a self-disciplined person. But here's the problem. Most people believe that self-discipline is about willpower. They believe it's about forcing yourself to do things that you really don't feel like doing and doing those things consistently. Although self-discipline reveals itself that way, that's not self-discipline. Self-discipline is the process of becoming who you need to become so you can do the things you need to do consistently. So it's not about willpower, but it's about identity. See, willpower can only last but so long. It can only get you but so far. But identity is the thing that's going to create long-lasting change. So when you become a disciplined person, you no longer have to fight to be disciplined. You no longer have to fight for focus. You no longer have to fight to be productive because you're operating in alignment with who you believe yourself to be. It's all about seeing yourself differently. So if you see yourself as someone who is weak, who is lazy, who is unproductive, who doesn't get things done, then your brain is going to find every reason to make sure that stays true. But when you begin to shift your identity into a person who is strong, to a person who is confident, who gets things done, that's when things start to change. See, it's not magic, but it's alignment. You're aligning your actions with your identity. You're aligning your actions with who you believe yourself to be, with your thoughts, right? And when you align your actions with your thoughts, that's when the magic happens. That's when things start to change. But one of the problems is people will say, but Lou, I just don't feel focused. I don't feel confident. I don't feel strong. Listen, in life, we don't feel what we want. You can want to feel strong, confident. You can want to feel whatever you want all day long. But the truth is we don't feel what we want. We feel what we focus on. So if you're focused on being tired, you're going to feel exhausted. If you're focused on how hard things are, you're going to feel weak. You're going to feel like things are impossible. If you're focused on quitting, or if you're focused on every excuse you have to quit, then you're going to quit. But if you're focused on progress, you're going to feel momentum. If you're focused on solutions, you're going to feel resourceful. If you're focused on your vision, who you want to become, the path you're traveling, you're going to feel unstoppable. What you focus on is what you feel. What you feel is what you will act on. And if you're going through the process and it feels unnatural, just know that that is normal, right? Doesn't mean it's unnatural. It just feels unnatural. Anytime that you're operating outside of your quote unquote normal behavior, it's going to feel foreign. It's going to feel off. But that's just a part of the process because you're shifting your identity. You're shifting who you're becoming. So it's going to feel off. But here's the problem. Most people, once it feels off, they'll go to make a change. Once it feels off, then they'll say, man, this is just not me. This just doesn't feel right. This is not what I'm supposed to. This is not me. And then they go back into that old identity. But what's really happening is that old identity trying to pull you back to that person who is stuck, to that person who lives below their potential. But you can't believe the lie, right? Because it's not your new identity talking, it's your old identity talking. Because you haven't fully became that new identity yet, but you're working toward becoming that person. So the more you repeat a certain behavior, the more your brain is going to normalize it. And then the less you're going to question if this is really me. if I'm on the right path, if this feeling isn't right. You're not going to question that at all, because now that behavior is normalized in your brain, right? So the more you repeat a certain behavior, the more your brain is going to normalize it, and the less you'll question yourself, because now you're operating in alignment with who you are and who you believed yourself to be. That new identity is what you're operating in. Now, most people who struggle with focus feel they struggle with focus because of distraction. But distraction is not the problem. The problem is distortion. You see, distraction is a symptom of a distorted vision. So what that means is when you're unclear about who you are, where you want to go, what path you're traveling, the things you want to accomplish, the people you want to serve, all of those things, that's when everything competes for your attention. That's when everything gets your attention. When you wake up with no intention, everything grabs your attention. When you have no intention, that's when your attention span begins to weak and you can't focus and you begin to get distracted. You see, focus is a result of three things: a defined, deliberate, and dominant vision. What do I mean? Defined is that means you know exactly what you want. You know exactly what you're after. Deliberate, that means your life is structured around that vision, around that purpose, around what you're trying to accomplish, around where you're going. And dominant, right? You have a compelling energy, emotion that's pulling you, right? Not pushing you, it's pulling you toward that vision. And distractions don't have a chance. Distractions don't have a chance in a defined, deliberate, and dominant vision. So the more clear you can become on the person you want to be, where you're going, the path you're traveling, the less distractions matter, the more focused you can be. So let's talk about 3 things you can do to sharpen that focus and become that disciplined person that you're capable of becoming. Number 1 is you want to commit to the identity shift. Identity is who you believe yourself to be, true or untrue, right? The thoughts you think about yourself, that's identity. Focus is not about behavior. Focus is about identity. So if you don't believe that you're a person that is strong, confident, who gets things done, you're never going to act in alignment with that belief. Belief drives behavior. Behavior gives you results. And you also have to remember that discipline is the process of becoming who you need to become so you can do the things that you need to do consistently. The key word is the process of becoming, right? So that means it's a process. It's not always going to happen overnight. You shifting your identity is not going to happen overnight. It takes time. You have to continue to match your thoughts on who you want to become, that vision that you hold for yourself, with your actions. The more you do that, the more your belief grows, the more your identity changes. So you have to commit to that identity shift. And if you don't fully commit, then you're just going to quit. So you have to commit to that identity shift. Next, you want to evaluate your environment. You want to structure your environment to support that vision that you have for yourself. Everybody knows. If you watch my videos, I always say environment is the most powerful influence in the world. Your environment can work for you or it can work against you. So structure your environment to support where you want to go. The things you watch, the people you listen to, the people you hang around, the things that's in your natural environment, pictures on the wall. Structure your environment that's going to constantly remind you of that purpose, of that vision, of that drive that you have within yourself. Because strength and excellence cannot be upheld in an environment that's dominated by weakness and mediocrity. But also the reverse is true. Weakness and mediocrity cannot be upheld in an environment that's dominated by strength and excellence. So you have to create an environment that is strong. You have to create an environment that supports you. Environment makes everything easier. So you want to evaluate your environment. And lastly, which kind of goes with the environment, is you want to audit your inputs. Audit the things that you're taking in. The people that you're listening to, the ideas that you're taking in, the beliefs that you're having, the conversations that you're having. Stay away from self-limiting conversations, self-limiting beliefs, people that try to put their beliefs on you. People that's not pushing you to be better. People that's not pushing you to be stronger, wiser, right? To have empowering beliefs. Audit your input. This includes your music, the things you watch, the social media accounts that you follow. You want to audit your inputs. Guard your mind. Listen, if you're constantly taking in trash, all you're going to give out is trash. You're going to talk trash, think trash. You're going to speak trash. You're going to give off trash. So you want to audit your inputs. If I drank apple juice, I'm not going to piss orange juice. It just doesn't work that way. And the same thing works when you're taking in things in your mind. So you want to guard your mind, audit your inputs. So quick recap. You want to commit to the identity shift, evaluate your environment, and you want to audit your inputs. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you share this with somebody you feel might be able to benefit from this content. And I will catch y'all in the next video.